The technological progress in recent years has been tremendous, so much so that there is not much that can be done today without the use of a computer or quite simply some form of technology. Consequently, technology has acquired a significant role in how we as individuals live and, more importantly, how we survive. When taking a closer look at how dependent we are as a general society, are so in love with our technology and reality, how scary it is, how much we use this tool to run almost every aspect of our lives. I feel that I could not go anywhere, even right now, and not find some direct correlation of how technology has influenced my path from A to B. While I do believe technology is the devil and will ultimately lead us to our downfall, anyone who knows me knows my room is basically a technological haven. It is probably a little hypocritical. I am making this presentation partially on my MacBook and partially on my iMac in a wireless room, and when finished, will upload it to the internet and send it to my instructor in an instant without any personal interaction. Oddly enough, little things like this and the fact that they are possible are still incredibly fascinating to me. Like most, I don't believe that technology is exactly easing communication, but weakening it instead. I'm not referring to the back and forth messaging that's delivered and received simultaneously, because undoubtedly the message, whether it's verbal or written, meets its goals. I'm referring to the communication in the human physical presence. Technology will never replace it. It can by all means weaken and even destroy it. For most convenient, that is just to lay back on your most comfortable chair at home and converse with a significant other in your life via text messaging, chat, or even video chat. It could never fulfill the void of not conversing with that person in a more physical way. Due to availability and easiness of talking through a computer, people often tend to postpone and delay family and friend hangouts. This is very harmful to everyone, especially to children. This small, simple change leads to a whole host of very serious problems within society in general. People are becoming lazier, choosing to stay at home and play video games rather than to go to a basketball game or get together with friends. Not all technology is bad or evil, but we do need to be careful that we don't become slaves to our own creations. Kids growing up in today's world can't even remember a time without the internet, iPods, or PlayStations. Technology changes so often that as soon as someone buys the latest computer, it becomes replaced with a more advanced version available. Because technology is moving so quickly, it drives the prices down, thus making the items easily available. Ambivalence about technology stems in part from our own experience with it. I work for Apple doing tech support. Every day I interact with people who have lots of experience to the many people who have very little or no experience at all. I've heard plenty of stories from people who literally hate new technology, while people, on the other hand, say they can't wait to see what people think of next. And from my own experience with these people, it's definitely their experience that make them feel one way or the other. The very electronic devices that have become an extension of our children are an enigma to the many people in the elder generation. I feel like this would be a great time to mention my little brother, who is strongly addicted to the internet and his iPad. He is the most accurate example that I can think of when it comes to choosing technology over human interaction. He is 3 years old. Yeah, 3 years old. And would die if a day went by that he didn't have access to the internet. This is the way he feels about it. He embraces it with all his heart, and it's his favorite thing in the whole world. Paw Patrol on the TV as if it's atmospheric background music, a PS Vita by his side when he wants to switch it up, and an iPad loaded with games, apps, and movies that is never not within an arm's reach from him. They are his company. There's not much communication between him and anyone else when he gets his hands on his devices. He is physically isolated from the world and the people around him because he rather feel accompanied by his entertainment-packed devices. He is the portrait of the majority of young children in this country today. It is a sad reality, and we all should be aware of the harm that technology is causing to our human connections. Our current system is plagued with compromises we've just come to accept. If you make computers and want to sell lots of them, knowing that each person will only buy one, you're going to make the computer that's the most useful in the greatest number of situations. So that's what we have. Millions of unchanging interfaces that are all exactly the same. They're good for using alone at a desk, but not really much else. The same goes for phones. Our devices belong to us and no one else. We have intimate relationships with our phones and emotional ties to our computers. If you and I both have iPhone 6s and you like to use my phone for a day, it won't be very useful to you at all, even though the hardware may be exactly the same. In order for in order to use the smart parts of my smartphone, you'll have to log out of my apps and log into your own username, app by app. And you can forget about texts and calls since the phone's still linked to my number. However, given about 10 minutes, you can reset my phone, log in with your iCloud username, activate the phone, and make my phone your phone. But you never do that because our phones make doing so intentionally inconvenient. The story is mostly the same with our computers. Our tech is just not designed for sharing. Technological convergence is when technologies currently in use are combined or improved to form newer technologies. The internet is one example of technological convergence. It has brought together the radio, games, books, TV, and much more. In the past, each entertainment medium had to be played on a specific device. Video displayed on a television through some type of video player, music came through on a tape deck or a compact disc player, and video games were played through a console of some sort. Technological convergence has resulted in devices that not only interact with the media they are primarily designed to handle, but also with a number of other formats. Digitalization and convergence allow people to use these entertainment activities from the palm of their hands via smartphone, iPad, iTouch. As technology advances, it brings with it social implications. The older generation will say that young people are less social, but that statement is untrue because people today are more active on social networking sites like Facebook. Social networking sites are the cause of failed romantic relationships, long distance relationships, new friendships, and sworn enemies. The ability to communicate through text message has had what some would consider a negative social effect because people would rather text someone than have a conversation at a bus stop. Communication in this manner removes the personalization or feeling from the conversation, and this increases the chance of miscommunication. Corporations like Apple, Facebook, Wikipedia, and Google have changed the perception of communication. A conversation is now had through text message and chatting forums instead of in person. As a result, miscommunication is more likely because the feeling heard in voice is removed. Children and adults today are spending more time on the internet and watching television than they are playing outside and getting exercise. This, combined with a poor diet due to busy parental schedules, has contributed to the obesity epidemic. To help combat this growing problem, exercise facilities have workout equipment with televisions attached to them. The hope is to motivate individuals to get up and get active. Because with the televisions attached to the exercise equipment, people can no longer use the excuse that they will miss their favorite series. The animated Pixar film WALL-E, which I love by the way, is the possible outcome if convergence goes too far. The world is destroyed and the earth is no longer a livable environment, so the human race in a simulated city is in a bubble. People are extremely unhealthy. All they do is lie around on portable machines and live life in a virtual world. Robots cater to their every need, making life sedentary while robots clean up the mess and attempt to restore life to the planet Earth. Finally, the convergence of technology appears to have made life easier by making the world's information more accessible through the radio, television, and the internet. People no longer need several pieces of hardware to communicate or be entertained. People all over the world can now attend college without ever stepping foot on a traditional campus. Schools, doctors, scientists, and many more are conducting studies to determine the effect on the student and the patient. However, it is very important that we remain cautious because making life too easy will most certainly produce problems. Technology is predicted to surpass humans, but only time will tell if convergence is harmful or helpful.